Hey everyone, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I appreciate y'all watching as always. We're here in this car repair week, I suppose, that I've got on the channel. And I want to first off say, if you're looking for a good how-to video, this is probably not where you're going to find it, because I do kind of more of a narrative and showing the struggles as opposed to do this, this, and this. But if you like to see that, I hope y'all enjoy this video. So far, we have in the series, we have replaced the engine mounts on this Toyota Camry, and today we're going to replace the suspension. In the first video, I highlighted the whole reasoning why I got this car and why I no longer have my Honda Fit. Real briefly, it's been maybe a month and a half now. What I've learned is that, long story short, this is a lot more comfortable to drive. And the build quality seems a little bit better in terms of like fit and finish, but in terms of like mechanical sustainability, it seems like the Honda's got this beat by just a little bit. Both of them having about similar mileage on them, within 10,000 miles. And I know that the Honda probably wasn't treated as nicely as this. But again, you're talking about cars with 200,000 miles. Very pleased with both of them. I just think that the Honda beat it just a little bit in terms of mechanicals and suspension and stuff, because I literally did nothing to that car and it didn't need anything. This has needed a few things, and that's what we're going to do today. We got to replace all four corners of the suspension. They are pretty much worn out. The front, I can feel it, especially when I'm going to work, when I'm more in a bigger city, going over bumps. You just feel the front shocks just doing this over them, and so and it hits them pretty hard. So this car's got pretty new tires on it. I don't want to damage the tires or cause them to cup or have those ridge spots in them. I can't think of the term of it right now. But so we're going to go ahead and do this today. Hopefully it doesn't take all day. I have found a bird in the garage, but I've also found a how-to video, and it doesn't look like it's going to be too hard. So let me go ahead and gather the tools that we need to. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different than what you see on the channel. However, if you like primarily small engine equipment videos, this is kind of a place to be. And if you have any questions about this repair or any other repair on the channel, you can reach me at ellis@ellismowers.com. That's also my website, ellismowers.com. Or you can reach out to me on Instagram and Facebook. I do my best to answer all legitimate inquiries about anything. And like I said, I hope y'all enjoy this video. Let's go ahead and get started on this Camry with suspension change out. And very briefly, let me go through this, as the bird's still in the garage. It's the 02 Camry, so it's the first year for the model year for this type body style. And it's an LE model. Pretty much it's the most basic Camry that you could get in 2002, except for the fact it's got a power seat, and one other thing I can't remember right off the top of my head right now. Oh, there goes the bird. I did change the hubcaps out. Unfortunately, they got stolen when my grandpa owned the vehicle, and the cheap ones he put on them were falling apart after a few years, so I just put some more cheap ones on it. Looks fine. Under the hood, 2.4 liter i4. It's like I said, it's got 220,000 miles on it. I've drove it about 3,000 miles. Future things we need to do to it is replace the valve cover gasket. It's starting to get a little, it's leaking some. That's very common on these. Got to clean the throttle body. Motor mounts are still hanging in here. Seem like they're doing a good job, just the cheap Amazon ones. On a car this cheap, with this many miles, I'm not really putting a lot of OEM stuff back on it. You can, to your discretion, but I figured that it would keep cruising on otherwise. Suspension is pretty easy to get to from what I can understand. We have these 3 nuts on top. That'll drop the whole strut tower down. And then we'll get the wheel off, but we've got a couple of bolts down here. So let me get the wheel off, jack it up, and get started on, we'll do the right front first. I'll show you one side on the front and one side on the back. They're pretty mirror image otherwise. So, alright guys, I got the wheel off. Let me show you the situation before we get started here. Like I said, you have your 3 bolts at the top for the tower. And then down here, I'll show you what's going on. You can see that these things are pretty done. You can see the boots are torn, the rubber boots and whatnot. I've got the quick strut assembly going on here, so I will be using that. So we're not going to be compressing springs or anything, because I don't play that game. Don't really work on cars a lot, so I don't really want to make things harder than I need to make them in order for them to work. So what you can see under here is a couple of mounts that you need to take off. One of them is this, looks like it's a sway bar link mount right there. Your next one is your, that's a harsh light, isn't it? Looks like that's a mount to hold on your brake line. And then you have your 2 main big bolts right here to hold on that holds on where the control arm is for the engine, or for the suspension for the right front. So, and your CV axle. So all we need to do is get something to prop the CV axle up so that it doesn't fall down too much, which we're just going to use a floor jack. Once we get close to that point, I'll put that in, but I do need to take these 2 bolts off, this nut off, and then this is like an Allen, an Allen on the inside, and then you've got a nut on the outside. I'll tell you all the sizes once I get to them. I'm going to lube this one up a little bit because it looks like it needs it. Again, southern car, I live in North Carolina, so I'm not really dealing with any rust issues, thankfully. Otherwise, this job would be insanely harder. Let me get all what I need to do. I'll tell you what we need to loosen. I'll do all that off camera, and then we'll go ahead and drop this strut out of this thing. Alright guys, let me show you. I have a 14 millimeter. These are all 14s here for this suspension tower mount. And then for the brake line, that was a 12 mil. You just take it off and just kind of push it out of the way. This sway bar link mount was a 17 millimeter. I've got to lower that so that I can push it out. It looks like it's bound up a little bit. And then you have 22 millimeters for the strut mount over onto the, I guess it would be the control arm, wouldn't it? With all the brake assembly and stuff. I have a jack mounted, or a jack under here to support it while I have the tower off, or the strut and spring off. And it should be unsprung at this point. Shouldn't be any tension on it. I've taken one off. You need to approach it from the back side, where you've got not the bolt side but the nut side, and we approach it from that side and take everything off, and we should be good. I do not know what that Allen key size is. It's some sort of metric and I don't have it. Luckily the nut just came off without it spinning around in the sway bar link, so that I was pretty fortunate, at least on this side. Let me grab my tripod and we'll see if we can get this thing mustered off on camera. Alright guys, let's see if I can work around all of my obstacles here with the jack and the camera. 22 mil. If you're lucky like me, you can hold the bolt and you'll be able to get it off. Let's see what we got here. See if I can release some tension off of this thing. There we go. To pull it out, great. So everything should be free now except for the 14 millimeters at the top. And that's the last thing you want to take off, because you want to have some support so that the thing just doesn't fall straight down on you. So, would always be good to have multiple people here to help you, but But, you know, I like to do things the hard way. So, here we go. So you can see this is loose now. Like I can jack down. Ooh, gotta spin it to the left, Casey. I can kind of take the knuckle off there, and so we got it pretty loose. So now we're just gonna kind of ease it down. Okay. We just got to get it off of that, off of this. Once we get it off of this thing is free. Alright, we'll take one bolt off. Take this one off next. See if we can. Okay. So we're getting there. Just got to figure out how to get it off of the sway bar link here. We'll be good. Alright, so here's the final one. I don't know what's going to happen when this comes down, but we're going to try and hold it. Alright, everything's off the top. I just got to get it off of this sway bar link now. Which I don't know why it's giving me such trouble. There we go. Alright, now watch your brake lines and all that good stuff. I'll pull it down and pull it out. Perfect! That was easy. Alright. It's really not that heavy either. I thought it was going to be a little bit heavier than that. Alright, so here's the not really damage. It's just 200,000 miles of suspension, which, I mean, apparently, unless you're a Honda, this is pretty typical. So you've got, you know, your bump stop up here. We've got the axle boot, which is pretty torn, or the strut boot. I don't really see where it's leaking anywhere. It's just flat wore out. Here's what I might do. Let me see what type of rebound we've got. See how soft these things are if I can. I don't think I have to transfer anything over except maybe these spline bolts, but we'll see. But okay, well, they're really not bad. It's just we got torn boots and some wear. I think the rebound on them's pretty shot. So cool. All right, that's the right front, guys. Let me decipher my Rock Auto boxes, and we'll get the right front and go ahead and put it back on. All right, guys. So I've got all my stuff sorted out here. I'm using FCS Auto. They're just China whatever, but I did do the same brand on all four corners. They weren't too much for the. I think they were maybe like $200 for the entire suspension system. Which, I mean, come on, 200,000 miles. You spend $200 to put suspension on a car. Go ahead and do it. The car deserves it, right? I figured out what corner each of them goes on, and so I've got them correct now. So, quality-wise, they look okay. We'll see longevity-wise, but I'm not going to sit here and put KYBs or Monroes on a 200,000 mile Camry. You can. I think I'll probably run another 200,000 miles, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just cheap. So let's see if we can get this back up in here on camera too. That'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it? Let's see. So this should be the right front. Like I said, they look fine. We're talking about a $3,000 car here. We're not talking about these crossovers that are way overpriced and over height and whatever. So I'm just taking this off. It's saying, warning, the spring is highly compressed. Well, we know that already. Like I said, yeah, we'll get that in a second. These quick strut assemblies, man, they're going to make it so much easier to do this. Let me take the nuts off here. This hardware is definitely cheaper than the original. But hey, they're at least in my hands and not on a boat somewhere, right? So, let's see what we can do here. I think I want to try and get it in the sway bar link first, because that seemed like it was the most difficult to accomplish. We gotta go that way, Casey. Get it up in the strut tower. This is where a second set of hands would come in handy if you had some somewhere. Just gotta get it over this brake line, and once I get it over the brake line, we'll be all right. There we go. Sway bar link. Let's see what we can do here. A little there we go. Let me get one of these nuts in real quick. Maybe two. That way it's at least secured up here while we try and work on it. Sway bar link. What can we do here with this? Dang. So, like I said, it's a little bit of a balancing act here. The video I watched, they did it themselves on this thing. Somehow I've got to push this thing up more. It's just kind of weird that the sway bar link doesn't really want to play ball with me here. That lines up pretty well. See if I can get it in this way a bit. Literally just playing a game here, trying to get it in. Okay, obviously this is the hardest portion of this job, is the sway bar links. Wow. But you can't like push this up much more than it already is. Come on, buddy. You know you want to. Maybe I need to do some. I guess y'all are seeing this. I'm not. Yeah, I got the whole wheel well in there. Let's see what we can manage here. We don't want to drop this thing all the way out again. Just to put this stupid thing in. I think we can manage with this. This is the first thing I'm going to put in by far. There we go. Alright. So I've got one nut up top. I think I'm going to reuse these because I like them a lot better than those others that are... Here, let me show you. That are look like they're extremely cheap. So now, here's the nut for the sway bar link. We'll go ahead and put that back on. The 17 millimeter. My high school shop teacher used to say, 17 millimeter. Alright, let me get the this back on. Ooh, wrong way, Casey. Alright, now, maybe I need to keep that loose while I work on this. So I can get it in place. Now what I need to do is get it onto this. Wow. This mess is like, there we go. Now we can put my nuts in up top. I've got it through the strut tower. I know y'all can't see this. But you get it, you just line the nuts up to the strut tower and you're good. Yeehaw, right? So, I'll get the third one on there. They're 14 millimeters up top, like I said. We'll get them bolted down. Last order of business, which should not be terribly difficult since this whole assembly, well, I got two more orders of business. We're going to do the smallest last. But my next one is, we're going to just put this control arm assembly back in the strut. Really is trying to turn on me, unfortunately. Probably because of the sway bar. Maybe I need to loosen those nuts up top. It's like a balancing act, guys. It really is. It's like a puzzle. But you have to figure out how to fit all the pieces in without breaking any. Okay, everything's still kind of loose. Let's see if I can wrangle this in. There we go. Jack it up maybe a tiny bit. Aha! See if this works to at least get one of these bolts in. There we go. There's one. Excellent. Just put this on. This is literally like a puzzle. When I work on lawn equipment, it's usually pretty simple. Honestly, this is pretty simple too. This is why I own Hondas and Toyotas. Toyotas are, they'll run forever, just like Hondas. Hondas are even more simpler than this, in my opinion, in many ways. I think a 10 millimeter wrench can take most Hondas apart. So now I got to get an adjustable Well, maybe I don't. Let's see. I turn my ratchet up there. That's on. Let me get the 17 mil. This will torque up to 200 foot-pounds, so I don't think this thing's coming off anywhere. Yeah. Not in the stripping bolts game either. So 14 mil on the top. Let me do those while I'm up here. Excellent. Now, 17 mil. Finish up this sway bar link here. There we go. And I'm going to back this down a little bit. We're going to get my 12 mil out. This bolt. Oh! And it literally just threads right in there for the brake. It's great. So I'm going to put this in, and then we will be done with the right side. I'll do the left off camera because it's the same thing, just a mirror image, and I'll catch y'all on the back side. Alright guys, I've got the car back on the ground. I don't know how well it's going to pick up on video, but I'll show you the difference in the left side. And now the right side. I don't know how well it's going to pick up, but we'll see if y'all can see it on video here. This right side, you can definitely feel it's a lot more bouncy because I haven't replaced the right side yet. But we're on to the right side, like I said, or the left side, excuse me. So we have the right, it's done. The left is not. You can feel the difference. I mean, it's crazy. We'll get that taken care of, like I said, off camera because it's the exact same as that side, except mirror image, and I'll catch y'all in the back. Alright guys, so I guess real quickly, the left front was even easier than the right front. Sway bar link didn't give me hardly any trouble on the left front. So fronts are done. Now we're going to move on to the rear. First, you got to start off by pulling the seat out. Apparently, you just got to pull really hard. I pulled it on the passenger side and got it out. And just got to pull it on the driver's side now. Ugh. There we go. Woo! Got to feed it through the seat belts here now. I know y'all can't really see that very well, but wow. Let me go on the other side. See? I'll just show you that this car was taken pretty darn good care of, because if you look under here, look at how little junk is in here. Obviously there's some cash. 25, 26, 27 cents. There's another penny over there somewhere. 28 cents. Oh, 29 cents. Hey, hey. Looks like you've got a fuel pump access right here. That's super if I ever need to do that. Thanks, Toyota. That's that. That's another one of them pennies. Got any more under here? No. No, just a couple of small little things. That ain't nothing, hardly, for a car with this many miles on it. And for myself, my sister, and my two cousins to sit in the back seat when we were much younger. Pretty good. So here on the bottom, we have an access to a, looks like a 12 millimeter, maybe a 10. We'll get that off, and that should take this side bolster off for this seat. And then once we get that done, we should have access to the strut tower mounts on the rear. And once we get to that point, I'm actually going to turn the car around and put it in the garage so that I have a little bit more even ground to work with. And we'll go ahead and do all that. So let's get started. All right, guys, so I've gotten one of the bolsters out. I'll show you, and then we'll actually do the other one. So this is where the bolt's on in the bottom. So it looks like this on the car. Bolt on the bottom. You have a tab on the top. And so once we get the bolt off, we have to actually push up on the cushion before we can pull it out. So I'm going to put y'all over here. Hopefully y'all be able to see it okay whenever I do this. But I've already got the bolt out from the right side one. It's a little bit of a process, but we'll get it. There we go. Yeah. We kind of broke that one, but this one was already kind of broken as it is, so that's all right. You just have to be kind of careful. Like I said, I think this one looked like it had already been taken off for some reason because it was already broken down here too. It may have had a little bit more sun damage or something along those lines. You never know. But like I said, it's just a side bolster. It's not going to kill anybody for it to have an issue. But it's kind of a bummer that happened. But we're all good. We got it off. Let me turn the car around. Put it in the garage backwards, and that way we can have level ground. Go ahead and swap out these rears. What this allows you to do is actually access the rear strut towers, bolts back here. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but you have access to them now. I'll push that back a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get this one out because of access, but I mean it's a sedan. So your access behind the rear seats is a little bit limited. We can put these seats down in order to get a little bit better access, I think. Maybe just a tiny bit. We could probably take these off if we wanted to, but I don't know if we need to go to those lengths. We'll see when we get there. Let me turn the car around. We'll do the rears. All right, guys, this kind of looks like the same premise as the front, just maybe a little bit different layout. This car's got drums. Some cars have discs. I think the V6 Camrys have discs. But you can see this thing is just completely shot here in the back. I knew they have been pretty bad for a while. Again, just maintenance items. You got 200,000 miles on a car. It's the way that it's going to be. A lot of people think, oh, just drive the car until it needs things and then I get a new one, like disposable. Here's the thing, we're spending like $200, $250 to replace suspension. It's cheaper than a $25,000 car, right? So let's see what we have here. I think these are a little bit smaller in the back. I think everything's a little bit smaller. That's a 14 instead of a 17. So we'll pull the sway bar link off. have to get. May not be as lucky here on the draw for this one. Darn, I'm not. So I gotta get some sort of Allen key or something along those lines to keep that from going anywhere. Wire brush. We'll get to that in just a second. We'll get to the easier of the other, hopefully easier items here next. 12 mil. Take that off. Just gonna put these aside to the side. And that brake line just kind of folds out of the way. It's a hard line, so it'll just be easy on it. Let's see, so we'll have to figure that out. Looks like we've got, maybe they're 19 mils here. 21. Yeah, they're like 19 mils. So let me grab my 19 millimeter. Let me see what they are on the inside for y'all. The challenge is going to be access on this one, I can already tell you. How did I even lock the car already? So, we'll go ahead and just have the door open. We'll need access. So underneath, I'm going to get my ratcheting set out, ratchet, whatever. And I think those are 12s this time, guys. So let me get the 12s. I'll loosen those up. I'll get my Allen and we'll get that off. And then we will get my 19 and we'll get the main strut portion off of the strut tower there. Get it off of the rear suspension. Would that be multi-link? I think that's multi-link, ain't it? Alright guys, so like I said, these are 19, this is a 14, and this is a 12 to get this off. I think that we have 12 millimeters to have this on the strut tower as well. Did not get quite as fortunate this time on the sway bar link, so I do have a 14 millimeter and then a number 5 Allen wrench to get this off. So I'm going to shove this Allen key in here. And we're just going to take her off like so. I did do a wire brush. I wire brushed this before I did this, so to make it a little bit easier. I should be able to do it now. Yeah. Put a sway bar link come off, just move it over there. Put your hardware in a spot to where you won't lose it. 19 mils. I had to take a breaker bar to these to get them off. I might wire brush them just a little bit as well, just to make sure that any sediment and whatnot. So now that I have that done, I should be able to just pull them off, hopefully, as long as they don't spin on themselves. Didn't have any issue with the front ones, but these I probably will. No, not too bad. Awesome. Go ahead and get both of these out. And now's the time to get the jack under there to give it a little support so that alright, so I got the jack under there for a little bit of support, hopefully to try and get these off. These are sometimes a little challenging to get off. You got to get them just right. Oh. Interesting. These are proving to be a little bit more difficult. don't know if like if I got a dead blow hammer or something, if that would help out anything. Obviously I'm pushing up on it right now. Maybe because it bottoms out on the multi-link down here, if that's an issue. Let's see if I can get this door open here. Open. Not quite like that. There we go. Alright, so let's go inside now. Let's see if we can do this on the inside and I can show you all halfway decently. So we've got access right here. I'm going to get my ratchet. My, ooh. .3/8 ratcheting wrench, or this right here. We're just gonna boom, boom, boom while we're in here. Like I said, that should be a 12 millimeter. $12 mil. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Like I said, access is pretty tight. Luckily. Luckily the access is decent, although it is a little tight still. We'll leave one of them just screwed in just ever so slightly. This one in the back, let's see what we can do. Alright, so we've left one in. That way it supports it whenever we get this one down. You'll probably want to see this. So we're going to take this off. I think I'll be able to kind of let it settle down a little bit now. Yeah, just a little bit. Let me figure out how to get these bolts out, guys, and I'll update y'all with that. Alright guys, I got a dead blow hammer and just hammered them. And they came pretty easily. We just need a little bit of extra gusto, so to speak. So. Ooh. There we go. There's one. Be careful with the threads. You don't want to strip them out. Give this a little bit of leverage while we do this. Number 3. Oh, there we go. Strong threads, we're good. So now, what I've got is a loose strut, except for one little nut down here. So I got this jacked up some. We should be able to get this off pretty easily now. If I can reach in here and grab that nut and get it off, which I just did, we should just be able to kind of pull this bad boy out. There we go. That was maybe just a tinge heavier. That was pretty easy. That wasn't bad at all. Just had to deal with, 20 years of road grime that hadn't been washed off, even with car washes and stuff. You can see this thing is done. It is beyond done. So I'll get the new one, I'll show it to y'all, we'll put it back up in there, and voila, right? So let's do that next. Alright guys, new one, let me show you real quick what it is. Right there, I believe that might be your part number. Again, all you gotta do is look it up on Rock Auto, AutoZone, Toyota, wherever you want to get your parts at. It'll show you what you need. So if we can get by with using the other hardware for these nuts, then we're definitely going to, because these are much cheaper than the Toyota ones that were used. Again, we're talking about China here. It's funny because on the box it says the brand you demand. They're pretty right. We demand our stuff from China. And now we can't get it. Thankfully Rock Auto had these in stock. So now I just got to stick this bad boy up in those holes and do a little bit of finagling. Once I get it through the holes up there, and it's kind of difficult because I can't really see it very well. There we go. Get one nut in. I know one how-to video said it's nice to have a second person. Well, I mean, I've done a lot harder jobs than this by myself. You could totally do this by yourself, even if you're not really a car guy, you know. I don't mind working on my cars, but I don't go out and work on other people's cars like I work on other people's lawn equipment, you know. It's just not something that I'm really that interested in doing. So now we've got to get those bolts back in there for the gotta get these bolts back in for the strut tower. Excuse me. Just had some lunch. It was good. See if I can pull on it and push on it with my foot. Nope, no, that doesn't work very well with it. I've got to like get it to kick back a little bit, maybe. Sorry, I know y'all can't see this, but I'll talk you through it. So I'm trying to line as much as I can up, and it looks like I need to pull the strut up all the way before I do any of this. So let me put the nuts on up top, and all it is just putting them on here real quick. I'm going to thread them down most of the way as well, and then I'm just going to use that to tighten it up on the strut tower mount here, and we'll be good. And then we'll go ahead and put everything on, like the sway bar link and that. So let me tighten those up, save a couple minutes here on the video. Alright guys, let me show you what I did here. I went ahead and put those bolts in up top, those nuts on. Like I said, I used the old hardware, it looked a lot better. And then I was able to put this sway bar link, kind of get it in. And then the next thing I did, I was able to just kind of work the strut around a little bit. I got the bottom bolt on, for this for the multi-link for the rear. Now I'm kind of jacking it up and around, and we're going to see if I can push it and get this bolt in on the top. And once we do that, we'll be in good shape. Let me get the dead blow back. I think I'll be able to pop it in there. There we go. Perfect. This is about as easy as the front. Thread these in. Give them a nice little... You just have to be careful getting those off because you don't want to strip any threads. We'll get these on here. That's good. Awesome. That's all we needed to do right there. Now, put the sway bar link back on. Get this in there threaded. Which way do we need to go? We need to go that way with the wrench. So this one didn't quite go off as easily as the front. That's the only thing. And really, it's not that bad because you just use it to keep the sway bar link from spinning inside it. And you are good to go. One last thing to do here is the brake line, which goes in the front. It goes in a little groove right there. Gotta work it in apparently. See if a little encouragement will help yet. There we go. And it did. 12 millimeter. Perfect. We already got it on this, so we'll just use this to tighten her up. Excellent. That's all we need to do right there. All right. That's tight, that's tight, that's tight, that's tight. I think I can see that right. Strut tower is tight where the bolts bolt to the car. Should be able to release this. We do. Go ahead and close my door back for the time being. Get this out of the way. All that's left here on this side is to do the wheel. I'll see if I can show you the difference in rears between a new strut and a bad strut. Before I do the left, I will do the left side. We may take it for a little drive. And we'll wrap this video up. Hope y'all have enjoyed it so far. This has been pretty enjoyable to do. I did not think it was going to be this easy to take off and put these things on. But it's been honestly, it's been a joy so far. It really has not been difficult at all. Alright guys, I found something kind of interesting. So this new strut that I put in, y'all don't know if y'all can see very well, but y'all can see it on the original. We've got like 5 coils, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if they sent me the wrong item or if they sent me an upgraded item for the left rear and the left rear only. But this is the correct strut from what I can tell. And it's got 7 coils. And like 2 rubber boots on the bottom. So I don't know if like this is an upgrade or if it's going to ride stiffer or I don't know. We're going to put it on though because the part number is the same as the right one, so I guess they just put the wrong one in the box. But it's got the correct mounts for everything, so I don't know if this is like for a V6 Camry or if this is for an upgrade? I don't know, but kind of interesting, guys. Sometimes this is what you get from Rock Auto, I understand, but I don't think it's going to make any harm in anything. Might ride just a little bit stiffer in the left rear, but I mean, am I really going to care? Probably not, especially for the price I paid for these things. Let me get this left rear on, and then we will be done. Alright guys, we're all set with this thing. I've put it back in its spot in the driveway. I don't know if y'all can kind of see, but the ride height is definitely a little bit higher now that we've gotten the suspension replaced. Probably pushing a ½ inch or so. That's just because the old ones had sagged and were wearing out. I don't really notice any difference in the rear ride heights, although I do notice that one of them's a little bit stiffer than the other whenever you push down on the car. I don't know why they put the wrong strut in there, but it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna mess anything up in the long run. It just might ride a little stiffer in the left rear. I already took it down the road. It's awesome. So much better than it was. You can tell that the old one was wore out and the new one is doing good. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. This was honestly one of the easiest car repairs I've ever done. I thought it was going to be a little bit more difficult. I thought the struts were going to be a little heavier than they were. Once I got into it and got that first one done, like y'all saw, that was really the hardest one that I had, with trying to figure out what I needed to do with the sway bar link. And once I figured that out, we were in excellent shape. So if you're decently skilled in mechanics, you could probably do this in a couple of hours if you just get down to it. You probably do it about 30 minutes a side. I just took my time. It took me, probably 3 hours or so to do it all. I still got to clean up in the garage, but that's about it. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all are enjoying this series. I just kind of wanted to give y'all a little something different here the week between Christmas and New Year's. So for those that watch the video, and hopefully it helped you out if you're replacing it, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you're a newcomer here. Again, my website is ellismowers.com. My email is ellis@ellismowers.com, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I got all that stuff in the description below, and I appreciate y'all watching this video. We're still got a couple more things to do on this Camry. Got 1 or 2 things to do on the Element. We'll see if I get them done before the end of the year as well. If so, they'll be a part of this series. I know that we're going to finish this. We've got a valve cover to do. We've got coils and plugs, and we might be doing oxygen sensors and catalytic converter. I don't have to get rid of all the codes, but I would like to get the car freshened up to where it's going to be reliable and last a good little while. So that's kind of part of the deal, and all that stuff's really cheap. I don't think I'm going to have about honestly $500 or $600 into getting this thing back into like pristine condition. So I've got to clean the throttle body out too. Nothing crazy. But thank y'all again for watching. I appreciate it as always. Thank you for all the support in whatever I fix and repair, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. See you then.